Within the realm of music, there will be artists that are remembered throughout history for being brilliant lyricists. Bob Dylan, Andre 3000, David Bowie, Kurt Cobain, just to name a few. These names may hold some weight behind them, but they don't hold a candle to the true lyrical genius of music.
2 + 2 is 4, -1, that's 3, quick maths.
That's right, today we're talking about Big Shaq. Believe it or not, it's been close to 2 years since Big Shaq's Man's Not Hot video popped up on YouTube. For a while, the thing was inescapable, and you saw memes everywhere that were based off the ridiculous pseudo-freestyle performance. And perhaps you thought this meme was annoying, but you can't deny the fact that Man's Not Hot gave a huge platform to its creator, Michael Dapaah, aka Big Shaq. In late August of 2017, when Man's Not Hot went viral, it seemed that Big Shaq was on top of the world, but as time passed, updates on the guy and his career came few and far between, with more recently you don't really see Big Shaq or Michael Dapaah's name pop up in the news or viral sphere anymore. So I thought it would be interesting to take a look at how Big Shaq blew up and what happened to him after he became famous. So this is whatever happened to Big Shaq. So in case you weren't already aware, Big Shaq is a character portrayed by a comedian named Michael Dapaah. So let's get into how the character was created in the first place. In May of 2017, Michael Dapaah and his friend Marv Brown launched a web-based mockumentary series called Somewhere in London. The premise of the show was to focus on the careers of a handful of characters living in London and explore their day-to-day activities in a mockumentary style similar to The Office. One of these characters was an aspiring grime hip-hop artist played by Michael Dapaah, and the character's name was Big Shaq. And this show was indeed the genesis of Big Shaq. You can see various clips that feature Shaq in the show where he acts pretty similar to the Shaq that we've known off of Man's Not Hot.
So, man's been grinding, innit? Like, you saw man done the modeling thing. Angelina Jolie thing didn't really go to plan. And so, obviously, boom, started the youth work thing. Got a bit of money percolating and that. So I said, bro, you know what, it's time to shine. So I shouted my brother, LB, Jewelry, and obviously he told me about the plug over in Hatton. So
the web show Somewhere in London was moderately successful on YouTube, with episodes commonly getting hundreds of thousands of views. But these views wouldn't come until after Big Shaq blew up. After the first few episodes were released, Michael started to gain a following on his Instagram page where he would often post little comedy skits performing as Big Shaq. And it was through his Instagram skits performing as Big Shaq and Big Shaq on Somewhere in London that would get him noticed by a London-based DJ. It turned out that London DJ Charlie Sloth was a big fan of the Big Shaq character. Charlie Sloth is the host of this show called Fire in the Booth, where they basically invite up-and-coming rappers or known rappers to do these, almost Tim Westwood TV style freestyles off the top of the dome in the booth. Charlie Sloth, being a fan of Michael Dapaah's work, decided to invite him on as Big Shaq and do one of these freestyles. It was during this Charlie Sloth Fire in the Booth freestyle session where the legendary Man's Not Hot freestyle was recorded. After the freestyle was recorded, it was uploaded onto the BBC One radio YouTube channel. And the video started to go viral after a certain portion of the freestyle was making its rounds on the internet. And, this portion is one you're probably very aware of.
The thing goes boom.
This small segment of the freestyle started to go viral on both Twitter and YouTube. And while the whole freestyle itself is really funny, it's this one clip that people got hyper focused on. The thing goes pop 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 pop, skippity pop pop, boom. Something like that. Interestingly enough, YouTube clips of the Tingo Scrat portion of the freestyle have more views than the actual original upload of Big Shaq's full freestyle. Check this out, 12 million views on just that one segment versus 3 million on the full freestyle. With the freestyle dropping on August 29th and September right around the corner, the internet became completely obsessed with Big Shaq and his freestyle, and it was clear that September was going to be the month of Big Shaq. As the clip spread and more people became aware of the absurd performance, the Big Shaq character was getting massive amounts of exposure. And you have to remember that Big Shaq is indeed a character played by Michael Dapaah, but at the time, no one really knew this. Initial viewers probably thought this guy was like the hungriest grime artist in the history of rap music or something like that. However, as days went by, the internet would come to discover that the Big Shaq shtick was a tongue-in-cheek parody of these, super hungry contemporary grime artists that are willing to say the most ridiculous things in a freestyle session. The bit is genius if you ask me. So like any savvy businessman would do, Michael Dapaah, seeing the massive success of the Man's Not Hot freestyle, he's got to be thinking, how can I monetarily cash in on this thing? He takes the lyrics and instrumental from the Man's Not Hot freestyle and re-records it as a studio version with an accompanying music video. And to say the official Man's Not Hot music video was successful is like a complete understatement. This thing was a massive hit. The official music video was released on October 25th of 2017. Within 5 days, the video garnered over 11 million views. And the view count today? 319 million views. The song became one of the most viewed viral music videos in YouTube history. To put in context of how big this thing was, I like to compare it to another organic YouTube-based viral track that blew up. Rebecca Black's Friday has 130 million views as of today. Man's Not Hot has nearly double the views of Friday. And I compare these two because I feel like they're in the same lane. It's like an organic YouTube viral hit. So yeah. So after the huge success of Man's Not Hot, Big Shaq would find himself in a rather weird beef situation with basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal. With the beef being this rather tongue-in-cheek, playful thing between the two of them, obviously based on the Shaq namesake. From what I can tell, the beef begins when Shaquille O'Neal appeared on Jimmy Fallon on October 12th of 2017. As Shaquille O'Neal walked out on stage, the house band The Roots performed a rendition of Big Shaq's Man's Not Hot, with Shaquille O'Neal kind of shaking his head like, oh, hell no. And then days later, Shaquille O'Neal drops a diss track directed at Big Shaq.
Whoa, man, Shaq, you can never beat me. You're not really a factor. I'm just sitting here about to win. Ain't got to spend a whole lot of ends.
And Big Shaq would respond in a freestyle diss days later where he brutally, just lyrically destroys Shaquille O'Neal's toes.
Look at your toenails. They're black.
So obviously the back and forth, it's like, it's all jokes. The two have no serious beef, and this is further confirmed when Big Shaq goes on The Breakfast Club and sort of, clears the air. It seems like there's no smoke between the Shaqs. Big Shaq would continue his momentum into 2018 where he was invited to open up the Brit Awards. And the Brit Awards are basically the British version of the Grammys. Big Shaq does this little skit alongside musician Jack Whitehall and goes out to the crowd, and everyone pretty much goes batshit when they see him. The steam from Man's Not Hot definitely carried Big Shaq a long way, but at this point we're starting to get into the springtime of 2018 and the steam is running out. It's time for him to do something to boost his momentum back up, and what he does here is he makes a new song called Mans Don't Dance. The song, released on June 10th of 2018, never reached the viral heights that Man's Not Hot did, but it still amassed a respectable 26 million views as of today. In addition to putting out the new track, Big Shaq also went on a worldwide tour around this time, so he was definitely staying musically active during this time. So let's get into what everyone likes to ponder about. How much money is Big Shaq / Michael Dapaah worth after Man's Not Hot and all this is said and done? Well, I've seen several net worth estimates, most of which range from $500,000 to $1 million. And in this case, I'd be willing to wager that those are conservative estimates. I'd say 1 million at least. He could have easily cleared $100,000 just on Google AdSense money. And in addition, this song isn't Creative Commons like Tay Zonde's Chocolate Rain song was that we talked about a couple videos ago. Anytime somebody wants to use this song, you gotta shell out money for it. So he's gonna be getting royalties from downloads of the track and also royalties from streaming companies like Spotify. And then we factor in touring money and public appearance money. This guy could easily be clearing $1 million, no doubt. As of 2019, Big Shaq is still touring, but he hasn't forgot where he came from because season 2 of Somewhere in London is still in the works and should be out sometime this year, and you can find that on his YouTube channel, link in the description box. What's bizarre about this story is Michael Dapaah never set out to be a grime artist or a hip-hop artist that was internationally recognized. He was just making a web-based mockumentary, and one of the characters from that show was noticed by a London DJ and the freestyle went viral on the internet. This whole thing was a joke to him. And that just rings true with how YouTube and the internet as a whole works. You never know when you put something out how it's going to be taken by the greater public when they see it, and it could be flipped into something that you never intended it to be. But as long as people are enjoying it and you become successful off of it, I guess that's all that matters at the end of the day. What do you guys think about Michael Dapaah slash Big Shaq slash Man's Not Hot? What did you think about this meme, and what did you think about the video? Make sure you let me know in the description comment section. Major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys very much. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.